In this video, we will rank the most aesthetic muscle groups for men, going from inappropriate comments from the opposite gender all the way down to F tier.
This list is based off of my personal experience, and this is all just my opinion. If you disagree, please leave a comment and enjoy.
Okay, so one thing I'll make clear is we only have 5 tier list slots here, right? Inappropriate comments from the opposite gender is of course going to be like the best tier of all of them, with C transitioning into F tier. And the reason why C transitions into F tier is because a lot of these muscles will be okay, and some of them just have no place in any type of aesthetics. Starting off with traps. This is kind of a hilarious photo, but honestly, I think traps are going to go in A tier. If you look at men with well-developed traps, it really gives you a more masculine look, and from a lot of the research that you do, a lot of women will prefer guys who have more developed neck and trap regions. The next one we have is hamstrings. Honestly, I feel like hamstrings are F tier. Nobody cares about hamstrings. I never trained hamstrings in my life up until maybe a couple of years ago, and it made a very minimal difference in my appearance and the appearance of others. I feel like unless you're a bodybuilder, no one's really looking at hamstrings. For the most part, I think that girls will always look at your upper body and like the V taper compared to, brother, just like who's looking at your hamstrings? I don't know what type of world this exists in. Anyways, F tier, bro. Hamstrings are also so annoying to train. So yeah, for that reason, nobody really cares about hamstrings. It's going into F tier. Let's go to the next one, triceps. Triceps, I would say definitely matter. They are quite impressive. It's nice to have big triceps, but they're kind of underwhelming compared to biceps. I'll put them in C tier. Girls don't really look at triceps. This is kind of like a guy thing. If you see a guy with big triceps as a dude, you're like, yo, that's impressive as hell. But you know, any girl, you know, they're more concerned about the biceps, you know, concerned about the shoulders. Triceps are dope to have. They make the bicep actually look a little bit bigger. So if your tricep is bigger, you can have the appearance of a bigger bicep, but that's the only reason I would say you should ever train your triceps if you're going for just pure aesthetics. Next, let's cover calves. F tier. Nobody cares about calves. Calves are another one of those things that like it's gonna be popular between guys. If you have big calves, dudes are probably gonna compliment you more, but I assure you, I've never had a girl in my life ever even speak about my calves, and the only ones that do are typically like into bodybuilding, you know? So besides that, you don't need to worry about calves. Biceps, I can't decide if they're gonna go to A or B tier. I think I'll put biceps in A. It's kind of one of those muscles that girls are programmed by like Hollywood movies to look at. So for that reason, I'll leave it there. Probably even below traps, just because having big biceps is cool. It's more of a consciously attractive thing, where something like your traps, your neck, you know, your shoulders, that V taper, it's not as much of a biological thing as it is a reinforcement from, you know, Hollywood movies that this muscle group should be attractive. Next, we got the glutes. I think I'll put this above traps, actually in A tier. Glutes are a huge game changer when it comes to attractiveness. And I never knew this up until recently, but there's been a lot of studies done where women will prefer men who have stronger glutes. I don't know what it is, do the research yourself, but like I'm confused on this as well, but I've heard this all over every single YouTube channel. All other people peddle this, so I'm just gonna go with their information. If it's misinformation, I'm sorry, but this is just what I've heard. The next thing we have is chest. I'm putting this in B tier. Chest is cool, but it's just another one of those things that probably guys are gonna compliment you more about compared to girls. It's awesome to have a huge chest. It does give you a nice look. It's quite aesthetic. I feel like it's just more appealing to guys, so I don't really know where to put this, but I'm gonna cater this to aesthetics for the opposite gender instead of, you know, aesthetics for men between men, and in that sense it's gonna be B tier. A lot of girls won't care about how big your chest is, frankly, as long as it's not like unproportional at all to the rest of your physique. Let's get back. I know I probably should have categorized this better, but back, we're just gonna use the whole back. I'm not gonna separate the back into like lats, you know, the upper back. This is an iffy one because your lats will give you a massive boost in that V taper look. I think I'm gonna put it in A tier behind glutes above traps, because you can have a big back but have it poorly developed, and then at that point it won't really be as high on the list. You know what, I'm gonna move it above glutes. Actually, I'm gonna move it above glutes. It does give you that V taper. Looking at this one dude here, bro, he looks crazy. If you got a nice back, probably gonna have a crazy V taper, but it's definitely not gonna be like the king of exercises. Forearms, inappropriate comments from the opposite gender. Girls obsessed with forearms. They're super aesthetic in general. If they're, you know, bigger than the rest of your arm, if they're bigger and proportional to the rest of your body, you want that Popeye look. That shit looks clean. Everybody wants bigger forearms. Very aesthetically pleasing. And yeah, you're probably quite likely to get inappropriate comments from the opposite gender if you have big forearms. Damn, all the good ones are like positioned at the end here. Shoulders, inappropriate comments from the opposite gender. Shoulders are the one thing that you can build that are going to give you the most bang for your buck when it comes to having that V taper. It's simply having wide, broad shoulders coming down to a narrow waist. So the more we we build our shoulders, the more we can hack our appearance to have that natural look. Quads, I'm gonna put at C tier. They look nice. They're probably behind triceps, and they're probably also going to attract a bit more of that like nice legs bro type of vibe compared to the can I fornicate with you vibes, you know? Before we go to the next one, I'm gonna put actually shoulders above forearms, so I messed this one up a little bit. Abs, I'm gonna put above all of these. Abs goes to inappropriate comments from the opposite gender. It's not the muscularity development of the abs, it's the fact that your body fat is low enough to see abs that makes the big difference. I hope that makes sense. It's not that abs are the most important muscle, it's that abs signify that the rest of your physique is in check. Being low body fat is probably the highest return on investment you can get if you want to be aesthetic. Even if you're skinnier, as long as you're lower body fat, you can still look pretty good. And lastly, neck, I'm putting this at the very end of inappropriate comments from the opposite gender. Having a thick neck goes crazy, but is it really more important than back? You know what? I think I'll leave this list as is. I feel like neck could also be somewhere in A tier. These are all kind of interchangeable, all the ones in A tier. And neck could also be somewhere high A tier, low inappropriate comments from the opposite gender. But once again, if you disagree with me, please correct me in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Check out our free Skool group in the first link in the description, and don't forget to stay savvy with your diet.